we're honestly like giving you or dropping some like heavy like kind of secrets. Like if you call an ad company, this is what they're gonna like do.
I would say going based off, let's say the first, you're doing your test. I mean, it really depends on how much money you think you can lose.
Magically, he is offering exactly what you were searching for.
Yeah, venture hustles, life is really what you make it. Building up your brand is whatever you create it. Really ain't no limit, you just gotta love it. Working day and night, it's all about the venture hustle. Hey, venture hustles, time to take it to the next level. Let's go.
Welcome back to the Venture Hustles podcast. We are your co-hosts, Saj and Jack. We talk about tech, startups, technology, entrepreneurship, hustles, struggles when you're creating your business and brand. And, we're now almost at episode 10, or we're at 10. So welcome. How are we doing?
Welcome. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. It's been a productive week, so can't complain.
I would agree. It's been a good week so far.
Yeah, for sure. And, I think the topic of today and this main episode here is digital marketing. So something that we've talked about. We have, when me and Jack are talking about ideas that we want to cover, and this is something that we've been spending so much time on.
Damn.
And
for those listening, I apologize for that.
Yeah.
I just dropped my mic.
Jack's been kind of going through this struggle, this struggle of his microphone.
Yeah, Emil's not going to be too happy with that one.
No.
Thanks,
but
Emil.
I think we'll be fine, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, today we wanted to discuss digital marketing. What is digital marketing? How to, market your product or service digitally. Budgeting, how that works with, digital marketing and why it's so important in today's kind of landscape of business. So
let's dive right into it.
Okay.
What is digital marketing? What is this buzzword?
So I think for me at its core, it's really just being able to market your product or service online in a digital format. So whether that is, let's say, doing some paid ads on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whether that's doing, filming a video to then promote on these kinds of platforms, anything that's online, in my book would be considered digital marketing.
Yeah, this term to me personally was, I was kind of like stranger to it, and I didn't really identify the magnitude of this and what it meant. Its parameters, like what is considered digital marketing.
So many layers to this.
So many. Yeah. But I think we've done different waves of we've covered different aspects of digital marketing and in my past ventures, and we've never really singularly identified that this is what we're doing, and we need to put more energy and focus into this. And this is the growth point.
I mean, the field has expanded so much where it's not even just paid ads. You can email marketing and things like that. I mean, there
options
is
are crazy
so
now.
many layers, and for someone that's not familiar, kind of like you were saying, I mean, it could be a little intimidating or daunting at first. Like, where do I start? And if you're that person, I mean, we're hoping that this brings you value because we kind of want to give you a landscape of the land, some things to try, what the landscape is, and see, and kind of help you out here.
I think let's highlight this, right? Like, think about it, because when you say digital marketing, I immediately start thinking about how is this different from traditional marketing, or like why is this a different category, or like it's a subgenre, right? For me, it's like, think about marketing, right? Traditionally, if you go back 10, 15 years ago, the biggest, most high ticket valued forms of marketing would be billboards, would be physical print out advertisements, flyers that you would see physically,
T-shirts,
merchandise, print advertising, and just things like that, which still is very, very prominent in this day and age, but maybe not as cost efficient.
Yes, cost efficient.
And like B, in terms of like, what's your cost of customer acquisition, and like value in terms of what it brings you, how scalable it is for someone that's starting out. Digital marketing, if you can master that, is going to be huge in helping scale your business.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure. So that's why it's like identifying digital marketing in whatever industry and space you are, and realizing that whether this is something that you want to explore or not would be huge.
Or whether you do it yourself or you hire another company to kind of do it for you, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, for you, let's say if you're looking for like a general contractor for your house, or if you're looking to get the roofing fixed, or if you're looking to get your internet fixed, or anything. Okay. What do you do?
I call someone and...
What do you mean? What, are you just going to magically have their phone number on your phone?
Well, personally, I would see if I have a friend.
Oh, man.
First.
Okay.
I always want to keep,
keep it in the
friends, family, right?
Let's say you don't have any friends. Yeah.
I'm going to go online.
Okay.
I'm going to search roofer in my area, or maybe even best roofer in my area. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to get a bunch of search results.
Okay.
Based on those results, I'm going to start clicking around. Then that's when you do due diligence. You start seeing what the costs are, what the timelines are, the reputation of those businesses or of that person. And then ultimately you come to a conclusion, who is the best fit. Then he fixes my roof.
Yeah.
Is that the answer you were looking for?
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Okay.
Or you don't come to that final end result of like immediately getting someone that comes and fixes your roof, and you forget about it. You know what, man? I'll take care of it in my next paycheck.
I see where you're going.
You see where I'm going with this?
I see where you're going. Go ahead.
But because of this little this route that you've taken, guess what?
What?
Joe 5000 Roofing targets you.
Is now going to come up on...
The next time you're on Facebook or Instagram, you see Joe 5000 Roofing's advertisement as one of the first things.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, magically, he is offering exactly what you were searching for.
Match made in heaven type of thing.
Magic?
Maybe. Maybe. Or maybe just digital marketing. But, yeah. So, I mean, that's the power of what's possible in this day and age. Yeah. It's pretty gnarly, for if you don't have any experience with it, going on like the Facebook ad manager or the Twitter ad manager and seeing all of the things and how detailed you can get. I mean, for some people, it might, it's without a doubt crazy. And for some people, like even for us, like when we were, when we kind of started to really get educated on this and start implementing these things and starting to see some results, it was like, holy cow, like, wow,
Yeah. I think I also want to just say, I know every time we're trying to give an example, I love giving examples of just like a demo of like what we're talking about so people can understand, or anyone listening can understand better. I feel like we got to work on these examples. Like our analogies and examples are usually so basic. like we got to find something better than Joe 5000, or at least I do.
Yeah, you definitely do.
I do. Yeah. But regardless, I think I agree. But you're talking more behind the scenes and once someone actually starts working on it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, and to your point, you can get, in today's age, you can get so detailed. So I guess it's a good segue now to get into, how to market your service digitally, how to be effective, different methods, different platforms to do this on. So I think two things stand out to me when starting. Number one is going to be, who is your target customer? Who is it? Who is in an ideal world, who is the person that's going to buy your product or service, right? Now, obviously, you're going to have your ideal person, and then, there will be branches off of that ideal person because obviously not everything will work out ideally, but it's important to figure that out first,
100%.
right? And then once you figure that out, the next step is now you want to start to think about, okay, where does that person live now? And I'm not talking where they live in their house, but in regards to digital marketing, where are they? What platform are
journey?
They? Okay. Not even that. Like what platform are they on?
Okay,
like
what are they using?
A really good example of this would be, we released our episode about intro to NFTs. As far as I'm concerned, if I'm trying to market an NFT, like you should be on Twitter. Right, so getting to know who your target audience is.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Where are they? Where are they spending their time?
Or if it's an NFT or a token project, all their target demographic is living in Telegram
or Reddit. You
Or
know,
Reddit, yeah.
so it's very important to start to understand
Like where your audience is.
where your audience is.
Yeah, sorry about that. You know, sometimes when we take these breaks and before we set up, you know, if you forget to silence our phones. But you know,
For those watching YouTube, you could like see like he like looked at me. He was like, "Should I do it?" And then, like, he didn't do it.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, you know, going back to like staying on topic here, it's just starting to understand. You know, you want to really be able to see. You want to cater to your audience, and you want to be a place where you want as least barriers to entry. You don't want any barriers to entry here. So you kind of want to meet them where they are, and then, you know, you'll find a lot more success that way.
yeah, 100%. I think let's start talking about, or let's start covering, like, where do you go, or like
How to
I know
learn?
even though you said no, I would say less than that. It's like what are the options available? Because
Okay, go
a
ahead.
couple years ago, when we were exploring Google ads,
Mm.
you know, like see different like PPC ads, we would PPC is pay per click, by the way.
I was just going to mention
Yeah.
that, but yeah, go ahead.
So basically, you set a set budget, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're basically telling the advertising platform what your objective is and your outcome is.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't have any of the crazy layers that we've explored in the last like year, you know, and what we've seen, what are
it's
available now.
pretty crazy.
So it's so insane now, and things have evolved. But I guess like it's important to know, right? Some of the most prominent places where you can put out your digital advertisement for whatever service product that you're offering would be Facebook,
Yep.
Instagram,
Yep.
Twitter, depending on who you're targeting. You know,
Or what you're selling and stuff.
Yeah. Google for sure.
Yep.
I think these are the four major titans, right?
I would say,
And of course, like there's like different types of banner ads and different platforms. We're not talking about that. We're talking
Yeah.
about more like targeted digital ads.
yeah, I mean,
right?
you know, there's also some things to be said, you know, in regards to platforms like Snapchat and places like that and YouTube, right? But, you know, for this kind of conversation, I think it'd be most beneficial. Let's focus on, you know, those four main platforms. And then that might, you know, for someone listening, they'll be able to have a good idea as to what to look for when it comes to YouTube and everything else.
I think you bring up an amazing point. I just want to say this. I don't want to kind of like
Go ahead.
digress from this point, but you said that, and statistically, I read an article that came out about last quarter. YouTube's ad revenue took a massive plummet. Like it just plummeted, took a massive hit because platforms like TikTok and Snapchat are doing so well.
Yeah,
Their
TikTok
ads.
too.
Yeah, and their ad platforms are effective, and people are kind of like migrating there. So
Would you put TikTok in the top 5 now?
no, not
Okay.
yet.
Okay.
Eventually, maybe. But I think again,
Their
it really,
system isn't that built out yet, from my understanding.
I would say if you've got a niche physical product that's really cool, kind of like artsy, has its own little gimmick to it. I don't have a better word, but you know what I mean. That would be perfect for TikTok.
And Instagram.
I think TikTok can blow you up.
Yeah.
Instagram, where like Reels.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I would probably say. But as a service, I just don't know how effective that is. The people that are on TikTok like really are there for different specific reasons.
Well,
So-
yeah, and again, you know, just to be clear, we're talking from our experiences. So that's why I don't want to say really too much about TikTok and stuff because it's not really, from our side, not really tested. I'm sure there's people that have had success with it, but it's also super new. So let's keep that in mind.
It's super new, untested, and also like you have to know like where your audience is and their age demographic
Yeah,
too.
that's
There's a
true.
very young age demographic in TikTok. It's compared to other platforms,
Yeah,
and
like
that's something
Facebook,
that they
let's say.
struggled with too. Huh?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
TikTok and Facebook, literally opposite ends of the spectrum.
Opposite ends of the spectrum, absolutely.
So, you know, I guess, so we've kind of gone over the different platforms. You know, it might be worth discussing. So let's say you're on, let's say you want to do some Instagram ads. Okay, some paid ads on, go ahead.
No,
You're
go ahead.
good? So you want to do some paid ads on Instagram. Now, for those that don't know, Facebook, Meta, owns Instagram. So
Meta Business Suite.
with that said, Meta Business Suite, you'll be able to run paid advertisements from both. So from this Meta Business Suite, you'll be able to run paid advertisements from Facebook and Instagram all in one spot, which is very, very useful
Simultaneous, yeah.
simultaneously. So And the reason why I bring this up, because when you're running paid advertisements, one of the things that you really want to get a good handle on is budgeting. How much you want to spend on a daily basis, how much you want to spend on a weekly basis, how much you want to spend overall, let's say per month. And then, we can start to just maybe discuss some ways as to how, once you do that initial round of ads, how to maybe optimize and kind of get the best bang for your buck, if you will. So,
I think with that, there's a couple things that you need to plan for. Like, what do you need to get started, right? Let's say you have let's say you have a business idea, or let's take a different route here. Let's say you have a successful business, kind of like you've tested it out, you've done traditional marketing, or you've done door-to-door, or whatever sort of marketing that you've done, and you've grown it organically by referrals or anything of that nature. And now you're like, now I need to expand and scale digital marketing. What do I do? So let's say you've got the servicing and all of that taken care of. Like, what do you do? So what I would say is, definitely what Jack said, what you said, which is set aside a budget, right? Plan for how you're going to map out that budget and how that's going to work and what type of leads that you can expect to see. Then I would also set aside, for when you're running digital ads, you need something called ad creatives. So ad creatives are two things, right?
Go ahead.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Go ahead. I'm with you.
So
I'm with you all the way.
Which one is the, what is the text that they're going to see? Like the visual text. When someone sees an ad, right, there's a two-parter. One is either a static image, whatever format that Facebook or Instagram or Google asks you to put in it. And then there's the text, basically the pitch. What is the pitch that they're going to see? What is the primary text that they will see? Like, this is where you can get detailed with what everything you list out that you're offering, your product or your service. Yeah. So you would, I would prepare maybe 10 to 15 variations of each, and like a hook main line. Then I would also create like 10 to 15, like roughly about like 8 to 10 variations of like the ad.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
And the reason why this is important when you're first starting to do that many is when you're first starting, essentially, for my fishermen out there, you want to cast a super wide net. Yeah. Right. Because pretty much, the mindset here is, you're gonna start, right, and we're gonna go through the targeting and all those things. But at the end of the day, all of your target customer and all of these things, a lot of it is theory. That's what you're thinking. Yep. Right. So in the beginning, you're gonna do 10 to 15, ad creatives and ads, and then you're gonna cast that wide net. And then let's say after, I would say 2 to 3 weeks, let's say.
So you're bringing up like an awesome point, and I think in the steps, this is important to understand how this is going to work, right? Yeah. You're about to, with digital ads, you're about to start an experiment. And no, for real, right? That's what it is, right? Because that's why you need these variations, because you need to see. So Facebook, Google, Instagram, all these major big tech companies, they have their own algorithm, and each of them vary from each other. Yeah. Each of them target different demographics, different numbers, different types of people, and then each of them have their own methods on how effective they are and how they're not. And some of them have AI, which are AI, but some of them are AI driven. So they'll automatically make changes to your ads if you allow them to. Yeah. And then they'll try to get you the best possible results.
Yeah, kind of nuts. But
it's so insane.
Anyway, not to interrupt you, but to kind of finish the point where it's like when you're first running those ads for the first, let's say, 10 to 20 days, you're casting a wide net to see out of those creatives, out of those different targeting options that you set, which one's doing the best, right? So you're gonna iron out and recognize and optimize. Okay, so ad number 2, 4, 8, 10, and 12 are doing the best.
Yeah, the results are going to be pretty apparent to you. Like when you'll start seeing which ones work, which ones don't.
Exactly, and maybe just a little bit more insight on that. You want to start to see, how many people it reached the ad. What is your cost per click, or depending on what kind of ad you're running, what your cost per result is.
Link click costs, yeah.
Exactly. And based on those metrics and numbers that you're seeing, now what you're going to do is you're going to pretty much cancel or stop all the ads that did not perform well, and then pour that same money into the ads that did do well. So essentially, you're putting the ads that did well on steroids. Yeah. So I thought that might be be useful to.
No, that was a really good point,
Yeah.
and I would have totally forgotten that. That was pretty good. That's such an essential step to outline,
Yeah.
just so you understand the psyche of like why you're doing this.
100%.
To begin with.
So,
like why you need variation.
100%. So going back to your point, right? So you're going to start. You're going to have two parts to the creative, right? So you're going to have the visual, which is actually the image, and maybe there's even text on the image, or video, and then you're going to have the long description.
Yeah, I think it's important to know also like we're honestly like giving you or dropping some like heavy like kind of secrets. Like if you call an ad company, this is what they're gonna like do, and a lot of it is like they have tried and tested methods that will almost guarantee you results that you're gonna need to see. But with this route, if you're doing this on your own, you're really just taking that risk, but you're also saving money of hiring. But it might also not work. So for us, like, what do we do?
I mean, we did both. We've hired people. We've asked them questions, dissected it.
Well, what do we do first?
What do you mean?
We hired companies first.
Yeah.
That was the first thing we
absolutely.
did. And then we adapted our own.
100%.
Yeah.
And again, these are some tips and things that we've learned from our experiences that, maybe if you still want to hire someone, these are good questions that you can ask, so you're educated about the topic and, can really start to see how good the company is at what they're doing.
Yeah.
Or if you want to do it on your own, again, these are all things to kind of take into consideration, that'll help you.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. This is, so like, I guess we should talk about money, right? Like budget.
Yeah, it's really getting into the nitty gritty with budgeting. Yeah.
So with budgeting, what would you say? Like what's a ballpark that you would
spend?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's pretty subjective, honestly.
I know, but let's say you're starting out.
I would say going based off, let's say the first, you're doing your test. I mean, it really depends on how much money you think you can lose. That's how I would think about it. So, let's say for a 20-day campaign. Right, so let's say if we spent $20 a day, right? So that'd be what, $400?
Yeah.
So maybe let's start at like $1,000. Right, got $1,000 that you want to spend that month on some ads.
Well, the reason why I say this is, of course, it's going to vary from person to person, project to project, but more of like if someone's so clueless that's listening and they're like, man, how much should I even plan for this? Like, what's
true.
a good test amount? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean, so I guess for a pure test amount, I would say between, around 500, maybe, and then up to like 1,000.
I think I agree with 1,000 for sure.
Yeah.
I think that gives you good
I think
enough.
you could get the job done with 500, but in an ideal space, you kind of want to be in 1,000, because that way you can run a fair amount of ads, put a fair amount of money into it. Because if you're running the test, you don't want to be wondering, well, if I put more money into this, like, do you think would it perform better?
Nope.
You don't want to be thinking about that.
No, that's something that we've definitely learned. I don't think that's going to change. And if you have to pour money into it, your ads and your content are not effective. Yeah. That's the number one thing. If your content and your ad creatives are effective to the point where it's getting the messaging and everything's clean, and they're like someone that's seeing it, that's your like, it's either that or it's you're targeting the wrong people.
Yeah,
you're targeting the wrong demo.
Let's so I want to just a little bit here dissect that $1,000. All right, so when we say, let's say $1,000 a month, what does that actually mean?
So are you asking what I would do?
Well, I mean, yeah, so I guess, well, not what you do, but explain, let's say, because we just went over all the different, so let's say we did, for math purposes, let's say we did 10 ads, right? How do we get to that $1,000 a month based on those 10 ads?
Well, one, you have other costs. We're assuming that these people have designers or they're designers themselves. So one, you have to hire or design the ad creatives yourself first. That's step number one.
Well, let's assume that you have the design all set. Let's say that you're setting up your ad campaign. You have $1,000 that you want to spend in the month.
I think if you have the money to spend, $20 to $30 a day is good.
Now,
it'll get you enough to test, and you'll know where you're at within 2 weeks.
Right, but now, so Saj is saying $20, $30 a day, but that does not mean putting $20, $30 on one ad.
Well, that's your daily budget.
Correct.
Right.
So what I mean by that is you're going to have those 10 creatives. So out of that $30,
it'll be distributed.
It'll be distributed among those ads.
Yeah.
That's why kind of the point I wanted to kind of get to.
Good point.
Yeah.
But I think also important to know is like the way Facebook works is that Facebook, like, and we've learned this, is like, depends on the type of campaign you're running. They're going to need some data, and typically it's within 4 or 5 days of you starting your campaign.
It's about 50 leads.
Well, that depends on what you're running.
Yeah.
That's that, right?
Yeah.
But let's say depends what if you're doing a traffic campaign?
Well,
So
50
that's not gonna be
results,
based
let's say,
results.
typically. Yeah.
So they need 4 or 5 days, and if you're running a $20 to $30 campaign per day, you're going to see those in less than a week where they optimize and then start
they'll
getting
help you.
It'll help you. So that's pretty important. So I would say that if you've got $1,000 to burn, as that, not as in like, oh man, I'm going to make this $1,000 back right away. More of like understanding whether you're targeting the right people and your ads are working. I would set aside $1,000. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna spend $1,000 to set you up to see where you should spend $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. Essentially, is the mindset here. Yeah. Now, also with that said, so let's say you did the $1,000. Okay. You're not looking at your ads. Okay. The mindset here, after you've done let's say your experiment, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, is now to start to see what ads did well, right? Because on a lot of these platforms, when you're setting up the ad, it's like, what kind of ad are you running? So it might be driving more traffic to your website. It might be filling out some sort of form. It might be like, for Twitter, it might be an engagement campaign where you're just trying to get, likes and retweets or favorites on your tweet, right? So you have to understand what kind of campaign you're running. But now you want to talk a little bit more about optimizing the ad a little bit?
I think that's when you, like from a beginner perspective, I think that's where things get more complicated.
Okay.
So I would say, because that's something that it took us a while to kind of understand.
This is true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I would say that might be past the intro to digital marketing.
Okay, well, I guess
that we do in the
now
future.
that I brought it up, right, very quickly.
And we can cover it if you want.
I think just quickly.
Okay, yeah.
After your $1,000 campaign, let's say, you want to go back to those 10 ads. You want to see which ones spent the least amount of money and got you the best results. You want to chop everything else and then put more money into those, put them on steroids. Overall, that's really the concept here.
Yeah, in a nutshell, 100%.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
Now, I think, I think one of the last things, right, we wanted to cover, unless you want to go over maybe some targeted marketing or targeted customer, but we kind of went over that already, right?
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit.
Okay.
I think, when we cover a broad topic like this is what we've experienced before. Is I feel like maybe we'll get too confusing. I hope we're not. I hope we're staying on track. But
I think we are. I think that I guess I'll go over briefly like the targeted. Because if you're listening to this, I want you to be able to have a brief foundation. If we want to run ads, right?
Yeah.
So
digital targeted ads.
Yeah. So now, if you wanted to, let's say you're a let's just use NFT. Because we've been doing a ton of that. So
so we offered that as a service. Well, we're a technology company, just to give some concept like backstory to that. Finally Free Productions. It's where we built custom software.
Yeah.
We've been in the technology space for like about 8 years, and this is the first time we've like added a new suite of services that are very different in a whole nother industry. Still technology, but blockchain technology, and now we are offering, NFT development.
Services.
Yeah.
Well, we said the two different things there.
Well, we're marketing to the people that are interested in building NFT projects and NFT projects that require smart contracts. So we have developers, but we're using through our digital marketing and through our digital ads and targeted ads, we're reaching out to the people that are interested in that space.
So when you think about targeting people, you want to think about, I think overall, it's just to be very like foundational in general. You want to think about things that these kinds of people would search, right? So if let's say we're doing like the NFT stuff, right? You would one keyword, let's say, would be NFTs. Another one would be blockchain. Another one would be like whitelist, or metaverse, right? So when you think about targeting and you're setting up these campaigns, just briefly, those are some things that you want to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, like this is the way I see it is like, there's so many layers to this, so many levels to this, and it could definitely be overwhelming. But 100% of what I would say is there are a lot of good people that offer a lot of information, do actual demos of these platforms on YouTube.
Yes.
That's like a really good resource.
100%.
And honestly, if you've got a couple $100 to burn, like $300-$400 to burn, just go online, search up like a smaller digital marketing firm, hire them for a small project, a test project, pay them that fee, and tell them that as you're doing this,
I want to be in the loop.
give me a demo of pretty much everything. I want to be educated on how the hell am I getting these leads? Does it make sense? These are bad leads. These are good leads. Explain the psychology of everything to me from start to finish. I mean, I wouldn't even tell them like what your full like goal is to run them independently on your own, but more of like out of curiosity.
Yeah, and they'll do it.
And
I mean, we do it.
Yeah, we do it. But the thing is, that $500, maybe even $1,000 investment that you're spending on essentially a course would go
a long way.
Yeah, I mean we're talking on a very low scale, but it would go a long way.
I mean, I think that's a really good suggestion for someone starting out. And I think one of the last things we wanted to discuss, kind of just like wrapping everything, that we've been speaking about, is why is this so important in today's kind of landscape? Why is this so important?
I mean, for me, I think it circles back to what we were talking about before. When we started this episode, I personally neglected it for years. Mm-hmm. I've neglected this space for years. And, even with my previous companies, like when we were doing marketing and we were trying to build leads, we were going traditional routes and we were partnering with lead companies and different things like that would do the work for us, mm-hmm. Would have their own SEO, their own advertising space and market and advertise for us, and they would charge us a massive premium compared to what we're getting as a return.
Yeah, easy.
And, but then we explore these other options and things start seeing so crazy. And in terms of scalability, the options are limitless. So
yeah.
And with technology, we know that it's not going backwards. It's only constantly evolving. So there'll be more options. Like imagine if you master Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google, YouTube ads, and you've found a good middle ground of what works for you. The next TikTok that comes out, you can now adapt that style into that, and you can
just take advantage of it,
adapt and pivot, or just
scale. You make a really good point, and at the end of the day, there's only so much. There's only so much you'll be able to, I think, do and accomplish without this. Not to say you can't make a good living for yourself. Not to say you still can't be successful. But in today's age, we're talking about every single person in the world. Let's say 99.9% has a smartphone. They're online.
Consumption.
They're online. Whether it's Instagram, whether it's Google, whether it's Twitter, like they are online.
Yeah.
So
every single individual in the 21st century, right now, 2022, like if you had to take a step back and take a look at your digital footprint, it's insane.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that talk about privacy this, privacy that, but you're technically, whether you know or you don't, whether you're aware of it or you're not, you are you're kind of consenting to all that data and all that information.
When you download a new platform and they say terms and conditions, you just hit okay and accept.
Yeah, because you're so excited about the platform.
There it is.
Why are you excited? Digital marketing.
Yeah. So
circle of life.
The circle of life. So I mean, as we wrap up here, closing thoughts, statements, any last hot tips? What do you think?
I think that's it from me.
That's it from you.
I mean, I honestly don't want anybody to think like we're like experts or like we're crazy insane at any of these things that we're saying. It's honestly like what we've experienced, what we've done.
Yeah, purely based off our experience. Have we had success? Absolutely. Have we had failures? Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
But, we're just based on pure experience, and honestly, maybe you can save
someone's got
$1,000 from what we're saying now.
I mean, honestly, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh man, I disagree with this, or I have a better way to do this, or any of the examples that we said, drop it in the comments. We'd love to see it.
100%.
I think the whole purpose behind Venture Hustles is like growth. We're all working together, coming up with ideas, listening to what the community has and what we have from our experience.
Yeah.
And that's what this podcast is. The messaging behind Venture Hustles is all about. It's
100%.
not all about like two guys that have perfected the art of this or that, So.
No, I mean, and it's we want to build an ecosystem, where everyone can help each other, and community, everyone can help each other, and so that's really what it's about. So yes, if you have different methods, and you disagree, I mean, or even if you agree, drop it in the comments. Our DMs are always open, whether it's Venture Hustle's DMs or my DMs or Saj's DMs, where it's open. Send us a message. We can definitely chat it up. Don't mind at all.
Yeah, we're pretty easygoing guys.
I'd like to think so, So, we hope you guys got some value out of this. We appreciate you and everyone for listening or watching. And, as always, like, comment, subscribe. We're on YouTube, we're on Apple, we're on Google, iTunes, Spotify. The list goes on and on and on. So,
TikTok.
Yeah. Saj loves TikTok.
TikTok's fun. Yeah,
So, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day and night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Venture hustles, this is venture hustles. Turn nothing to something, start a business, get it jumping. Ay, told myself that I would make it and I'm never quitting. Staying motivated and I started with a vision. Yeah.